going to different parts of the world. As you know that, it is one of the trends for the last, one of the major trends for the last, 2 decades. Globally we are witnessing liberalization, privatization and multinationalization. So even we can say that when a company is now starting, it is thinking about what? Thinking about the global market rather than local market. So in marketing terminology they called as local markets. Local markets. Local means globe is the local area. So based on what? Based on this particular what? Particular categorization, as I told you that, how market become imperfect, which I am going to explain later. Imperfect market is imperfect when there are certain elements which makes the market not to function perfectly by doing competitive, by following competitive framework. That means competitive framework cannot be exactly followed due to certain factors, etc. For example, a brand is created. When a brand name is created, naturally that brand has got leverage. When the brand is having leverage, even though the price of the product is increased, people may buy it because of brand loyalty. Actually, it is a part of imperfection. So that we will see later. Let us now start with what is perfect. Perfect competition is a framework or market framework or a market structure or a system that existed long back. Now that market is no more existing. We can see certain market characteristic features which is resembling to this, but exactly it's not perfect competition, because when I explain the market in detail, then you come to know about why the market is not perfect. So the market has become imperfect now. In this world where we live, the market is imperfect. What is imperfection? And there are various types of imperfection that we'll see later. Now before we pass on to the in detail about perfect competition, let me explain to you what type of imperfections we are witnessing in this world. That means what sort of imperfection exists in our real life. The imperfect competition, as per your syllabus, we can categorize it into 3. One is monopoly. As you know that monopoly is a market where there is only single seller or single company dominating the entire market. And globally, monopoly companies are very rare in private sector. But even now, in government sector, we can see monopoly. Example is that, take the case of Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, DEWA. It is a monopoly company in Dubai. Similarly, if you take SEWA, Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority, it is a monopoly company. So, a single seller, mono means single, poly means to sell. That's why monopoly. But private sector, many rules and regulations are framed by the countries of the world to control monopoly, because the reason when monopoly dominates, that means single seller dominates, they normally exploit the customers, because the customers don't have any options other than the product of the monopolist. That's why monopoly is restricted. Now for example, take the case of India. Earlier India had MRTP Act. Monopoly and Restrictive Trade Practice Act was there. Or if you take the case of America, there are Monopoly Regulation Act is there passed by the government. So this means that monopoly is not permitted in private sector. For example, you must be knowing that Microsoft as a company, they produce the product and supply globally, and it has got all the qualities to become a monopoly company. But what government of America controls it by so many rules and regulations. So it is, the company was divided into so many small pieces, etc. And that company, there are so many cases were filed against the company, etc. long back. Now you know that. That's why monopoly is known. Another market structure that exists now, which is imperfect, is monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition. This is a real market that exists in our life. Monopolistic competition. For example, you are going to supermarkets or hypermarkets. We want to buy food items, or we want to buy soaps or detergent powders, or you take tea powders, etc. How many brands are available in the market? How many different types of products are there in the market? But the purpose of the product and the use of the product is same. So such a market structure is called as monopolistic competition. So it is a combination of monopoly plus competition. That's why it's called as monopolistic. Don't confuse the name monopolistic with monopoly. Monopoly is different. Monopolistic competition is different. So monopolistic competition, various brands, so many sellers, so many brands are there, and so many products are there, and normally customers' knowledge about the product is very poor. So earlier, we must be knowing that rice was available in our village market from in local shops, etc., without any brand names. The same rice and food products are now coming to you in different brand names. The objective is that the aim of the monopolistic competitive company is what? To charge you more by creating a brand name. Whereas when it is a perfectly competitive market, they are unable to charge high price. That we can see afterwards. So monopolistic competition is a market structure that exists in our life. Another market structure which is in our syllabus is oligopolistic. Oligopoly. Oligo means few, poly means to sell. That means it is a market structure characterized by few brands in the market, few companies. For example, take the case of telecommunication in UAE. It is an oligopoly market. This oligopoly market, few brands are there, few numbers are there. At the same time, they are what? This oligopoly can be what can be. Either they are selling same product or differentiated products. So it's a market also that exists in our real life now. So there are three different market structures under the title imperfect competition in your syllabus and textbook. And now we have to study perfect competition before coming to imperfection. Now you may ask a question, why should we study perfect competition? Because the market is no more existing. My answer is that perfect without knowing perfection, how you come to know about imperfection? That's why I am teaching you perfection first. Then we are coming to imperfection. Let us start with perfect competition. So we have started with market structure. Market structure is the framework of a market, and market structure can be categorized on the basis of various parameters. Here we categorize the market on the basis of competition. On the basis of competition, we can categorize the market into two broad categorization. It is perfect competition as well as imperfect competition. Perfect competition is a market which is no more existing, but it was a market that was much favorable to the customers also. That's when that market was existing long back, now it's no more there. So we have got in reality imperfect market structure where the competition is not perfect. At the same time, imperfection can be different types, and we come across three different types of imperfection as per your syllabus. One is monopoly, the second one is monopolistic competition, and the third one is oligopoly. Let us now start with perfect competition. Perfect competition. Perfect competition. So in your syllabus, you have got a detailed study about perfect competition. And this particular chapter module is very important. Module number 5 is very important because in your question papers you come across many questions from this particular module. So that's why I'm telling that this is the most important module as far as what questions are concerned. Now let us start with perfect competition. Perfect competition, there are various definitions of perfect competition, but I will give a brief idea about perfect competition, which is given in your textbook. That is in page number 135. Page number 135, a detailed information about perfect competition is given. Now the question you are getting from this area, one is short questions, definition.